First off, I think your expenses of holding, buying, selling, and financing are way undervalued. Second, I think your sales price here is questionable simply because these comps don't make sense to me, which makes this net profit number basically a wag. And this is a very big wag to make a mistake on. Secondly, I believe you said that you were in this project with another investor, which means the two of you will split the profit in two. And let's make this calculation. It's 89,000. Let's make it 89,000. 89,000 divided by 2 will give you each profit of 44,500. Now, I'm assuming both of you are gainfully employed and you're paying Uncle Sam a good tax amount. If you were to register $44,500 each in profit for that year, which I'm not even really sure that's gonna happen because of what I already discussed, but let's say you did get this amount, Uncle Sam is going to confiscate 33% of that right from the get-go. Let's say he only confiscates 30%, which means you get to keep 70%. So let's multiply that number times 0.7, which is your after-tax return, because you have to pay taxes on your capital gains. So each one of you is going to make $31,150, questionable 31K on this project. And your holding time for this full project is 6 months. Now, let me tell you why this isn't that great of a deal. From just looking at the repair estimate, and go back to this repair estimate, this is a huge amount of work. This is a lot of work. In addition to that, this isn't work where you can do this and then you can do that and you can do that and you can do all this at the same time. There's got to be like a project manager on site. Your general contractor is going to have to be really good at planning this out so that it can do as many things as possible at the same time. And some of these things, and I can tell you while I'm looking at it, I'm going to turn off the sound, they cannot be done at the same time. They cannot be done at the same time. For example, you don't want to do painting while somebody's doing flooring. You want to do the painting before the flooring. You don't want to do, you want to put all your bathroom and plumbing and your electrical stuff in before you do any kind of flooring, period. Framing stuff is the first thing that has to happen. So there's a timeline associated with all this. And looking at this repair estimate, it only gives me half the picture. What I would want to see is in Microsoft Project or some other software where you can estimate or get an estimate from this particular general contractor how long each thing will take and which things are going to be done at what time on a day-to-day basis for those 6 months. Because if you have a bad contractor, what's going to happen is they're going to start the framing not understanding that they're responsible to work on the outside landscaping stuff at the same time. So they're going to do this, and then they're going to do that, and then they're going to do something else, and then they're going to realize, oh, we should have waited, and now we're going to do this. And so the whole thing is just going to stretch into forever. And if you have a good contractor, they will know how to do this. But if you have somebody that has been tasked to do all this work in 6 months, and they don't know how to do this, it's easily going to go over your time budget. It's going to go 6, 8, 10 months or even longer. And unless you're with it like every day, and if what you've told me is you work many hours and you have a full-time job, you're not going to be able to dedicate that much time to go and check on them and see what the status is. You're completely trusting this contractor to take care of this. So you're putting your project and your profit margin into the hands of somebody who you trust will do their job. And since you've never worked with these contractors, this would be a very risky endeavor for me, especially because so much money is involved. I would quite honestly, this particular repair estimate, this is a huge amount of work, huge amount of work. And I've done rehabs, and I've had old houses, and I've rehabbed them before, but I can tell you that this is crazy. This is going to take some serious time. From me looking at this, if you have a good contractor, 6 months is the minimum amount of time of this. Minimum. It probably could even go longer. It just depends on weather and also how qualified the contractor is to handle all of this. And along with this repair estimate, I would ask for a detailed project plan of when they're going to do what, so you can hold them to that as well, not just to these prices. So let's go back to this a little bit. You're going to have to redo all these costs right here. The financing, as well as holding, buying, and selling costs, that all have to be redone. And this right here is a number I would check with the realtor. Anyway, so let's go back to this, because if this is actually the amount, then $31,150 is what you will have gotten in after-tax profit for the two of you, your partner and you. Now, this is a 6 month for 6 months, according to your estimate. Let's make it 8 months just to go sure, because I want to make sure that we can look at these numbers properly. So if we divide this number by 8, each one of you is going to make about $3,893.75 per month on this project. And I roughly, from just looking at the numbers, I don't think it's going to be that much. Just once we adjust all the numbers, it's probably going to be half that much or less. And there's a lot of effort that's involved with you and a lot of worrying for 6 to 8 months. It's still a good return, I would say, maybe $2,000 or $2,500 or $3,000. It's a good monthly return. My question is, though, I would be really questioning, because your margin is just not very high. And you're counting on getting this huge number to sell this house, and you're counting to sell it within 6 months. Now, if you count, let's just say that that amount is correct, and you've gotten your net profit of $89,000 here, and it took you 6 months to remodel. And let's say it took you, according to these comps right here, let's give you 6 months to sell the house. And even if you just sold it in 3 months, but let's give it 6 months. You got to think of the worst case scenario. So this right here, I think the amount was 89,000. Let's just do 89,000 divided by two investors, and let's divide that by 12 months. This would be, I'm sorry. Let's start over. I got confused here. 89,000 divided by 2 investors. Divide that by, let's give you about 6 to 8 months. Let's give you 8 months for rehabbing, and let's give you, let's say, about 6 months for selling. On and off. So 8 plus 6 would be 14. So your net gain would be, and let's make sure I do this again, 89,000 divided by 2 investors, and divide that by 8 plus 6, which is 14 months. This is what you would make each month. And once you adjust the numbers, I can guarantee you this will be about half the numbers for financing. That's presuming that you're actually making that much money when you sell it. And that's also presuming that all your numbers are a little bit off and they need to be higher for selling. I just don't see how this is worth it. You know, this isn't a very large amount to make per month. And the other thing is, once you have tied your credit up for this huge amount, because it looks like you're financing everything, the actual house plus the repair into the mortgage, this is probably the maximum amount that the banks will give you right then. They're going to want to see some sort of return on this before they give you another loan. For those 6 plus 8 months, or however long your holding period is, you're not doing another project. You're just doing one project. and you're doing one huge project, and if that one huge project goes bad, then you've potentially lost a lot of money, and you're going to be eating up mortgage and tax costs, sitting on this house waiting for it to sell. Overall, as I had mentioned to you before, this is an okay deal. I don't think it's a great deal, and especially if you're a beginning flipper and real estate investor, I don't think this is a great deal. Now, that being said, I do understand that if you're looking in the area where you're looking, that's just how much the house prices are there, and you can't really look at anything else that would make any sense that would actually sell. But I would really highly recommend that you start looking maybe in other areas or cheaper areas, maybe some suburban areas where it might be a little bit cheaper to purchase property. And then you can start small, because what you're doing with this project, you would be putting all your eggs in the same basket. And on top of that, you're putting your eggs together with your partner's eggs in that same basket, which means there's potentially a huge blow up and everybody's money will be lost. I'm a seasoned real estate investor, and I've done flipping projects for many, many years, for 20 years now. Even at this point today, if you had asked me to go into a partnership with this project and I even had the money to invest in this, I would not go for this. And I would recommend that a private money lender not go for this project. And this is, I'm going to tell you really honestly, it's because I don't think it's a very great deal. I think this margin, these numbers, this number, and all of these numbers, they are not reflecting reality, and the information presented in the comps as well as in the repair estimate is not sufficiently there in order to make a determination. Another thing that you could do is to see if there had been, in this area where you're looking, where you get these comps from, if there's any place here where people have done the same thing that you're trying to do. Were any of these houses fixer-uppers, rehab projects that people have bought and fixed up and sold? And get with those people, find those owners or former owners, and ask them for advice. And you could find these people through a good realtor. So overall, I give the provisional thumbs down until the numbers are redone on this project, and I'm sending you back to do more homework on comps analysis with the realtor, with an actual person, as well as redoing these numbers to reflect reality a little bit. And this is like so that these numbers aren't grabbed out of the air. You know, get with the tax authorities, get the right tax numbers. Get with the mortgage lenders, get the right numbers on the interest. Get with the utility companies and ask them, how much does a house like that cost in utilities? Ask the neighbors, somebody will have better numbers for you, because I think these numbers are not good estimates. And so be glad to look at this for you again as soon as the numbers are changed a little bit, and then we look at it again. But the way that it is right now, and even if these numbers are correct, this isn't a good enough deal where I would jump on it. And I would recommend you guys don't either, because I don't think your experience level is enough yet to understand that these numbers are not going to be a sure fit. And so if you have any kind of cost or time overruns, this number is going to be greatly reduced. And it's not going to make it worth your effort to have so much risk involved for that many months, whether you're going to be able to sell this house or not. So that is my analysis. As always, for more information, my website is www.juliamspencer.com. The M stands for money. Sign up for my free newsletter, and happy investing.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.